There we go.
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Go Big Blue, go Giants. Go Big Blue, New York Giants.
God, it's great to be a Cowboy, isn't it? It's how we do stuff. It's the Cowboys. We're trying to do something. Really, it's time to leave the football team. It's time. It's your time.
It's our time right now. 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 It's our time right now.
He was a Giant, and he was a Cowboy. Now these two former rivals have joined forces to bring you the most insightful, perceptive, and controversial sports talk podcast in America. Former Dallas Cowboys defensive end Jim Jeffcoat locks horns with former New York Giants wide receiver Byron Williams. And now, here's Byron Williams and Jim Jeffcoat.
Good evening, Byron. How are you this evening?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing good, doing good. Got a little chance to go out there and play a little golf this morning and hit the ball pretty well. And I got with all those storms, it must have, I must have got hit by lightning or something.
What?
Yeah, I must have got hit.
How many balls did you lose, or what happened out there?
Only lost one ball.
Wow.
One ball. And that was on the, I think it was on the, I want to say either the 17th or the 7th hole.
The 17th is a part 3, I think.
No, there wasn't that one. The one where they go over the water.
Okay, yeah. Maybe
So that might be that part 5.
Okay, but yeah, part 5. Yeah, part 5.
Yeah, part 5. Yeah. So that, and I played pretty well today.
That's good.
I was excited. Maybe I practiced too much. Maybe I'm just a natural.
When will you want to play me? We play $1 a hole, so I can give me about 18.
Shoot.
I need to give me about $18.
I'm just gonna show up at when we start playing and just play. That's what I did today. I practiced too much and worried too much.
Well, that's probably good. You were relaxed then, sound like.
Yeah. I just relaxed and hit the ball.
That's awesome.
A lot of stuff going on around the world, though. We got to talk about. First thing we can talk about is the Boston Globe had an article. The real reason that Tom Brady returned to the Buccaneers. They said that Brady wasn't going to retire from football, but he wasn't going to play on the field. Actually, he was going to become a Dolphins minority owner and move into the front office, kind of like Derek Jeter.
Right.
And then the deal came to a halt after the Brian Flores lawsuit was filed.
Right.
Dolphins were going to hire Sean Payton. I don't know how they could get away with that. Must have been some draft picks.
Yeah. Involved. Sean Payton. They were going to hire Sean Payton.
Yeah, hire Sean Payton, but that would have put more scrutiny on the Dolphins. So much that they said the deal said in the media by Brady. So much was what was said in the media by Brady and Payton. I wonder how the Saints feel about that. They were getting an exit, basically an exit strategy for both of those, Brady and Payton.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that the Saints would have really just hated to see something like that happen. And being the owner of the Saints and knowing that you are not too far away from being in the playoffs and being a good, good challenging team out there, I just think that would have been really some awesome news for the football world.
It's interesting because everybody in the Boston area, New England area, was always talking about, how great Brady was. But now it looked like they turned around and basically putting out a lot of stuff about him that they didn't do in the past.
Yeah, by Brady being the number one player in the NFL, I guess so many opportunities, so many people want to, try to contact him on this, that, and the other. I think, that's just amazing that they thought of him trying to get down to the Dolphins. I can't the owner of the Dolphins, Stephen Ross, seemed like to me he got his hand in a lot of stuff as well.
Yeah, he's a Michigan man too, as Brady is. So that's interesting.
Right.
And you know that Brady was the first player to start not pair in NFTs, that art. But now he started his own company that's NFTs.
Yeah. I know he got his hand in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
On the side, and that NFTs is becoming really big and popular.
Yeah, and all it really is a type of boss. I mean, a type of art. And just like you said, Ross and Brady have had a long relationship. Obviously, both are Michigan men and everything, and
right.
This is kind of shocking. I mean, Brady is manipulating the system, and so was Sean Payton. I've worked with Sean. Okay. Sean's a great guy, so I mean, I don't have any bad things to say Sean.
So you think Sean got a lot of things cooking too? That's probably why he stepped down from the Saints. He had some other things that was brewing and other opportunities. So like,
but for him to get back as a head coach in the NFL, whoever gets him is have to make a deal with the Saints. So he just can't go. Even if he sits out this year, he can't just go to another team.
Right. He's still under contract and had to pay the Saints out of his contract or pay him out or what?
Yeah, well, I think they have to give draft picks.
Okay.
Kind of like what happened with Gruden going to Oakland, right?
Yeah.
So I think there would be some draft picks involved. So these things are things that whoever is looking at him, and is he worth a number one, or say you get it trading up is basically a number one, or other picks. You're not just going to get one pick. You're probably going to have to get multiple picks to get him. Is he worth that?
I don't know, but you know him better than me, so he's a proven winner. I mean,
yeah, but the problem is he doesn't play on the field.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's the problem you have, and you're giving up number ones for a guy that he can help organize your team, but can he get you enough talent?
With all this stuff like this going on, do you think it's some of these teams ain't gonna make it to the Super Bowl? I think people are wanting to see, fair play and honesty, but man, just trying to get to that Super Bowl, it takes more than trying to get one right coach.
I agree. And that's my point is, I think what you would have to do is do similar to the Rams. Say, forget the draft, and you would have to just go out and get players. And you better have some good players within your organization, because you don't have to surround them. And you're always going to be have issues with the cap. But although the Rams found a way to get under it and still get good players. I mean, they got Bobby Wagner.
Yeah.
They're trying to get Odell Beckham back. So they got it away. Stafford, they gave a raise, and they gave him a new contract. So they must know something. And then they're working on Aaron Donald's new contract. So this may be the new NFL.
Yeah, look like that is the new NFL. I saw Aaron Donald work out the other day. Mm-hmm. Man, he was impressive. So he still can move like no other, man. I was amazed at how quick his feet are.
Mm-hmm. He's similar to Randy White type of interior player. So
yeah.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about every week. It seems like we're talking about Daniel Snyder. This is crazy.
The Washington Commodores or the Commandos or what? What do you want to call them?
I would call them what they are today. I mean, the Commanders.
Commanders. Yeah, they do have a lot of things going up there in Washington. That's for sure.
This is huge, and I wonder if this is a federal violation, or it couldn't be a federal violation, but this is fraud.
Yeah.
Because he took a certain, I mean, think about this. First, cheerleaders escort scandal.
Yeah.
And, second was a workplace sexual harassment.
That's crazy.
Then now it's skimming money from the NFL and the fans. I mean, who's going to buy tickets?
That is serious right there. That third one is serious, because you're talking about a death penalty that you can definitely get kicked out of the NFL about. Yeah,
and this all started with one of the people who worked in the organization, and he fired him. Mm-hmm. And he came and said, hey, you guys better check. He has 2 sets of books.
Wow.
He has a book that he gives to the NFL, and then he has a book that he keeps. And he was keeping 40% of the money.
Just imagine you part of the other 31 owners, and this guy been doing that. You know that ain't gonna sit well.
Yeah. Now the guy at FedEx, Fred Smith, was going, and that's Arthur Smith at the Atlanta Falcons. That's his dad.
Right.
He wanted to buy the Washington Commanders.
Right.
And Snyder is in a bad situation right now. I think if they prove this true, they're gonna make him sell the team.
Oh yeah. And was this been going on for a number of years, huh?
Yeah. And think about this. The Broncos have a bid that says, the NFL says they can't take a bid worth less than $4 billion.
Right.
So you imagine being in DC, what their bid's going to be. That's going to be about, I would say there's not very many people who can afford it, but it's going to be around $6 or $7, $8 billion.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they're gonna probably almost double the minimum. Almost, it'll probably.
I would think so. There's only a select handful that can afford to buy a team. Because you're in a prime area, plus you're in the capital of the United States.
Exactly right. Yeah, and plus they got so much new stadiums and all the other stuff that goes with that team. It's just gonna be that's gonna be a good price tag.
Yeah. Not giving the deposits back to the season. That's it. After the contract's over, estimated $5 million.
Wow.
This guy was, and then one of the senators said this is like the Godfather. He was he was skimming off of everybody.
Yeah, he might well be in the mafia.
And here's the funny thing is that my son, obviously, I told you this before, he played for the Washington Commanders, and they were Washington Redskins back then. But he said that their facilities were the worst facilities he's ever been in.
What?
Yeah, with all this money he's skimming, he's not putting it into the facility or the team. He's putting it in his pocket.
Wow.
That's bizarre.
Man, they need to definitely make him pay back interest and kick him out and put the team up for sale. I think that's what's going to
happen myself personally.
Yeah.
Because the minority owners tried to get him out of there last year.
Right.
Yeah, and it was a slush fund. It went into a slush fund.
Yeah.
Because he did buy a new yacht, one of those super yachts. So that's what he used to buy that super yacht.
I was also saying that, the visiting team pool, when part of that money go into that's to make sure that profit sharing is completely fair for all the people that don't get their first chance of people coming to the games and stuff. And it was a good initiative that the NFL have to make sure that every team get their fair share of money.
Yeah, that's true. And that's right, because it's always been, and that's what it is. They talk about socialism. That was socialism. Everybody gets money.
Right.
Daniel Snyder has basically said, forget that. I'm going to put this money in my slush fund.
Slush, man. That's crazy, man. Just getting greedy, man. Just becoming more greedy than ever.
Yeah. And he screwed the owners. He screwed the fans. I mean, he said, okay, you suspend me, but I'm going to get my money some one way or another. And he started in broadcasting. He had radio stations.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he started in broadcasting, and that's how he made his money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a greedy guy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It is. So
he took over that team since 1999, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Wow.
And that former employee has opened up a lot. See, that's what you happen. You make people mad. And we'll talk a little bit later with the Cowboys, because a lot of the issues, the personal issues they had was because of two people that were in the organization. And one was married to the owner's daughter.
Right.
And they got divorced, and he just spilled the beans. And the other one worked in the administration, and They fired him, and he spilled the beans. So that's why you're hearing these issues with the Cowboys. But we'll get into that at another time.
Yeah, the Cowboys are always in the news.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Now, Derek Carr got signed a New Year deal extension for $121 million. But here's the interesting thing. I think they said he got 24.8 guaranteed. Don't you think that's interesting?
That's interesting. That
because
is.
You would think he'd have more guaranteed, wouldn't you?
I would think more to be guaranteed. Yeah, I think that guaranteed part is kind of shortfall. Are they reporting the right numbers or what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they showed a picture of Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, man. So he was smiling. So evidently he knows.
Yeah. Well, they played in college.
Yeah, they played
college. We actually beat them at San Jose State because we were both in the WAC.
The WAC.
Devontae Adams is a really good player. Then my best friend Jason's on there. Good evening, Jason. And he was asking about and we were going to talk about that a little, Jason. You didn't even get us a chance. Will the USFL and the XFL make it this time? Here's my issues with it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Byron. USFL has some good coaches. There's not a question of that.
Right.
The USFL's problem is their season. They start next week and they don't end in July. And then all the players and all the coaches have a 1-year option. So you can't just go there. They have to release you to go to the NFL. And the problem I have with the USFL is that they limit those kids because they're not going to take those kids in July.
Yeah.
They want them after obviously after the draft when they're filling out the rosters.
Yep.
And I think that hurts them. And whoever did this, this is a TV play. And it's Fox, obviously, and NBC. They're filling empty time. That's what they want.
Yeah, I think if they could somehow make it like Major League Baseball, the AAA or AA or something like that, where it's directly tied into the NFL, the way coaches can go and get back in the coaching side of the things and everything. But when you out there on your own and you're not getting the TV revenue and don't have the union and everything put together.
Well, they have Fox and NBC for their TV revenue.
Yeah, so now they need to call us at the NFLPA and see if we can get the union part. I'm just joking. I don't know, but I'm just saying that it's something that's missing that gonna probably cause them to shut down. I hope not, because I think players do need more obligation, more option to make things happen. Have opportunities.
But it doesn't affect college football because of where it's at, and it's just like the XFL. The XFL's model is perfect for football, and I'll tell you why. First of all, they start in February, and obviously the playoffs have not started in basketball. You're getting close to the end, and you're in spring training for baseball. So they start the week after the Super Bowl, but they end the middle of April. So they're not conflicted with basketball or baseball or a little bit of March Madness, but be honest with you, when I was in the XFL, we still had good ratings with the March Madness because we didn't play during the week. We played on the weekends, and people would watch it, and they still could watch their favorite teams, their college teams. So I thought that was a better concept of it. Plus, by being able, you give the kids enough time after the draft, because it's before the draft, the season's over, and teams are filling out those last roster spots.
Yeah.
A couple of our kids made the NFL.
Well, what about the people in the stands? What about the attendance?
The attendance was actually really good here in Dallas. It was really outstanding in St. Louis. San Antonio is going to be probably a team, and what makes San Antonio interesting, they love football.
Yeah.
They have the Spurs.
Well, you definitely need to be in cities where there's no NFL teams, and you kind of can take, share that market.
Yeah, I think they're going to put one. They're going to have 8 teams.
Okay.
And, and somebody says you can't. It's not. They're not using it for a minor league with college football being so big. What they're doing is the NFL I don't know if you read these. They're partnershiping with the XFL, and that's going to be a problem for the USFL because they don't like the model of they're making a system where I was talking to a gentleman today, and the XFL, what they're doing is you sign a futures contract, they can send you to the XFL. And I'm sure there's things that have to be worked out because if you get hurt in the XFL, where's the liability? That's going to be some of that things. But it's interesting what they're doing. And the only coach they brought back from the previous XFL is Bob Stoops.
Okay.
Bob Stoops. And Bob is, I work for Bob. Bob is tremendous to work for.
Yeah,
he's a good coach.
He's very likable, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He is just, he's a coach's son. All his brothers are coaches. And I could see why he was so successful in college football. And I tell you what, he would have been successful in pro football too, just because of his personality. He's a defensive guy now.
Yeah, is he? Okay.
Pure defense. And he wants an effective offense. I don't think he really likes the spread offense, but that was the thing that was the new fad.
Yeah.
But I think he likes the traditional stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if he hires somebody to run a more traditional offense.
Gotcha. Yeah. So the XFL announced those coaches, right?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Wade Phillips, who we all know has been, he might have been out there with George Hallis.
Yeah, he's been around.
Yeah, and Chuck Knowles, all them. Wade's been around. He's 74 years old.
Yeah.
Jim Haslett, he was Buffalo Bill as a player, and he was a coach
with the Giants.
For the Giants.
Yeah.
And he also was St. Louis and somewhere else. Oh, New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, he was with the Saints.
So he's been around. Bob Stoops, we talked about him. Rod Woodson, he's coached in the NFL. He coached for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Hines Ward, we know about Hines. He was working with the Jets. I don't know what happened with that, and he was working with a couple of the NFL teams. Reggie Barlow, I don't know a lot about Reggie Barlow. I don't
know much about Reggie.
Yeah, he was like Virginia State or something, and he resigned to take a job, and they said he's going to be the head coach. And here's the interesting one is Anthony Beck. His experience was in high school. He was the number one choice for the New York Jets, but his experience has been in high school. So that's going to be a jump. The biggest jump, in my opinion, is going to be for Woodson, Ward, Barlow, and Beck.
Right.
Oops, obviously, we know his history. Hazlitt, he's had some coaching experience in a pro level, and Wade Phillips. Obviously, they've all been head coaches at other than Bob Stoops. But Bob actually did a nice job when we were in the XFL.
Okay. So, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what the XFL can do and what kind of tag. They're going to have a couple of new rules, too, that they're going to try to implement as well.
Yeah, they will. And they're kind of experimental for the NFL. They're really they're really working with the NFL to get some of the rules that they want to look at. So it's interesting that they do that. And I tell you what, you can say what you want about Vince McMahon, but he does a nice job how he did that. If there wasn't COVID, it would have been successful because they had a lot of interest in it.
Yeah.
Now, stay with the USFL. Now, here's the interesting thing. I talked to a friend of mine today who's going to be involved with the XFL. They were going to base everything out of Dallas, Texas. But now
they should have.
Yeah. But they're talking about you practice in Dallas, then you go to your home base. So say Terrell Buckley is going to be the head coach at Orlando. He would take, after they practice all week, they fly to Orlando and play, and then they come back. Which I don't
like that. I don't like that.
I thought that was because to me that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What I suggested was you put 4 teams in San Antonio and 4 in Dallas.
Okay.
And you put the teams on the east in San Antonio, the teams on the west in Dallas. And I thought that would make it better. as opposed to putting all of them in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, because how do you build a fan base?
You don't. It's hard to. It was hard to.
So I thought that would have been difficult. What their theory on that is that they're cutting down costs for the first year.
Yeah, the travel costs and stuff.
Yeah, the travel, but they really are not.
Yeah,
if they do it the way they're talking about doing it.
Right.
I think, like I said, I think you have some good coaches in the USFL, but it's interesting. But they're under the same as the players. They have an option year, so they can't move.
Yeah,
they have to be released from their contracts.
Right.
So that's the same, similar.
Yeah, that's interesting the way they trying to make things happen, though. I really, to be honest with you, I played in the World League, in 91, 92. I played, and we got a chance to travel to Frankfurt, Germany, Barcelona, Spain, London. That was really some good lifelong experience to travel and, to play games across the water, so to speak. But definitely, if they can come up with some type of concept, so because it was so much fun, we was able to do interviews on the sideline, do your own dance and things like that. Just make football fun, and it's worldwide, it's global. Everybody got their own little team that they like. So hopefully we can come up with something that makes sense for for the XFL, the USFL. I hope they're able to make it this time.
I hope so too, because it gives more jobs to younger players, it gives them more experience, and it gives more job to coaches.
Yeah,
I like that. And when you talk about the World Football League, you played my brother played for the Scottish Claymores. Yeah. And then Roy Glover played for, I think he played for the Monarchs.
Yeah. And then they tied that in with the NFL at the end, which was good. But it just, you have to have a contract, TV contract, and you have to have it to where it don't compete with the NFL. It just be more like an add-on,
I think that's what it's going to eventually be.
Yeah.
Well, on other things, this was a sad week. Obviously, Rayfield Wright, the most decorated Dallas Cowboy offensive lineman,
right,
in history of the Cowboys, passed away this week. I'm going to his funeral on Friday.
Yeah, they have his wake tomorrow, Thursday.
Yes, they have it. Yes.
Of course, I had talked to Tutal several times, and a couple of Cowboys called me about it. And I saw him not too long ago at Charles Haley event. Him and his wife were there, and had a great time. He's always laughing and cheering everybody up.
Yeah, he was that kind of person. I did his golf tournament last year, and I knew Rayfield, and it's really sad because he was truly a good man and a good person. And I felt bad. What happened is he had a seizure.
Yeah.
And his wife is a real estate agent, and she was out, I would assume, showing houses.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there, and he was brain dead before he passed, and that was sad because I really appreciated Ray. He was always courteous. I mean, he always, like you said, had a smile.
Yeah,
that was unfortunate. He was 76 years old.
Yeah,
and then we had obviously the Gary Brown, who had connections to the Cowboys as a coach,
running back coach.
Player.
Yeah, running back coach.
Penn State, and he went back to Williamsport, where he was from, and he was actually coaching at the University of Wisconsin. So he had cancer, and he passed away last week too. And really unfortunate when you see lives taken from us. Yeah,
he was 52, and I saw breaking news to Jerry Jones and wish his family condolences and things like that, and it was a sad to see see him.
It really was.
With cancer.
Yeah, I think Gary played in the NFL for 8 years.
Yeah, he was with the Giants too.
Yeah, so. He was with the Giants, and he was a couple other teams as a player and a coach. So that's always unfortunate. And then obviously the situation with Dwayne Haskins.
Oh yeah.
We'll never know what happened and why he was trying to cross that busy highway, and that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, it was really sad Saturday morning. Getting that news and hearing a young man, 24 years old, passing away the way he did is always sad.
Yeah, and he had his life ahead of him that young. And there's been a lot of interesting things happen. People criticize him for his lack of success in the NFL, but that's not the bottom line. The bottom line is this is a 24-year-old that passes. That's all. That's the concern. You don't need to put in other things. He died.
Exactly. You really don't know the path that people have lived their life and the experiences that they have to go through to get to where they are. Don't nobody never know, the other side of things. Like I got 9 more siblings, it's 10 of us. And, it's a lot of things that took place growing up in these families. And now, players got to make decisions based on what's best for them and try to help their family. I mean, you be surprised how many people are pulling on you and conversation that you have to talk to with your grandmom and your mom, some deep conversations. So you never know what people have to go through. Your life is not their life. So it's a lot different. It's a lot different when you talk about.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
And that's a good point you make, because you don't know until and why they did certain things, because a lot of times there's reasons that we'll never know.
Exactly. The good thing that I've been involved with the former players and getting the chance to know a lot of these players and hearing their stories and some of the things they have went through and, some challenges after football. Some guys can make those adjustments. Some guys can't. Some guys have a lot of issues. And, the good thing that we do now, Jim, is when we see all these players and we get together, it's just, guys get to smile and then telling old stories. And
old story, yeah.
And it's a guy called me this week, saying, man, you know what? I'm driving through East Texas and I'm thinking about you. And, it's just crazy what we can think about, but it's also giving us a smile on our face and be there for each other.
And you're right, because I did a function for Charles Haley for Tackle Tomorrow, which you were talking about last week, a poker tournament. And just getting with the guys that were there that I played with, we're laughing about things that most people say, what are they talking about? But it's things that we experience as a group.
Yeah, our meeting on March 17th, on St. Patrick's Day, we was at the Star, and, we had some guys come through, and, you and Too Tall and some other guys, Derek Woodson was there, and, we got a chance to laugh, and, guys from other teams,
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing, because people don't realize it's a brotherhood. Because regardless of the teams we played for, we had a brotherhood because we all had the opportunity to play. And that's the interesting thing. I think, like I said, I always said, free agency is good. It's really good. But the problem with it is you don't have that bond that you used to have, because you're going to move around a lot. And I think that affects the game a little bit, because you don't have those intense rivalries that you have. Just be honest with you, you might be playing with the guy you have a beef with the next week.
It's kind of like, Dwayne Haskins was down there with Claypool and Harris and Mitch Trubisky. They were down there working out and doing some things in the off season, and that's where you win championship. You work together, get your timing down in the off season. A lot of people don't understand. Football is just not doing the season; it's year round.
And then Jalen Hurts is doing the same thing. I don't know where it's at, but I know that he's training with his receivers, and that makes you obviously get a better feel for those receivers. And what you mentioned earlier, Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, they played together in college, and they're going to have that rhythm. They understand each other, and that's not saying
you just look inside. I know in a receiver, you just look inside at the quarterback. I know Phil Simms, you thought when he did this, that means go. So just having that relationship and being on the same page with everybody is so important.
Yeah, and I think some of that because there's so much transient players now in the NFL, it's a little bit more difficult. I mean, this was an unusual year. Who would have expected Vontae Adams and Tyreek Hill to get traded?
Yeah, Russell Wilson, to leave Seattle. I mean, just all these,
Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't have expected it.
This year been a different year all the way around. I mean, it's just a whole lot of transitions. I mean, Chandler Jones, look at the Raiders, man. The Raiders are a whole different, complete team now.
Yeah, I agree.
The Chiefs are different. Tyree Hill going to Miami, going back to his home state. I mean, it's a lot of things happening this year.
Yeah, and I think also if you look at it from I'm talking about Dave Tepper and what he's doing in Carolina. These owners buy these organizations, they buy these teams for over $4 billion, which we said, and they're trying to make their money back.
Yeah.
So obviously we know that $4 billion is a substantial amount of money, and they're trying to get the net worth of it. And Tepper is the wealthiest owner in the NFL. And he's still got bills to pay.
Deep pockets, yeah. And so, but you're seeing a lot of things happen this year. More so, it just goes to show you that the NFL is so exciting. I mean, it's always something in the news. There's always something going on.
Yeah,
even when an owner have a estranged daughter, 25 years old. No, I'm just joking.
We ain't going there.
I ain't going in the Cowboy.
That's not football news.
I ain't going in the Cowboy locker room. I ain't going over there to try to see what the cheerleaders are doing.
Don't talk about my dad like that. Hey, but we're going to have a special guest come on, and he's going to talk about how Jimmy Johnson, one of my favorite coaches and favorite people, pioneered the draft value trade chart. And we're going to talk about it in the early 90s. Jimmy Johnson, Dallas head coach, began assigning values to the pick, not the players. And it really determined the value when trading draft picks. The first pick was obviously the highest value.
Right.
But the picks following with smaller values all the way down to the last pick in the draft. So we're going to put somebody on here that can explain it. Where you at, Matt?
How you doing, guys? What's going on?
What's up, Matt?
Not much. So the Cowboys have always been on the precipice of technology, right? They're the ones that came up with the computerized getting players as much information they can, matching up to what they needed. Jimmy Johnson took kind of a different approach to it. He made it a little bit more non-computerish, if you will. He signed numerical values, as you said, to each pick. And this is how Dallas worked the draft. So, for instance, if you gave up your first-round draft pick that was, say, worth 1,000 points, but you got back their second-round pick that was worth, say, 900 points or 800 points, and you got a third-round draft pick that was worth another 300 points, your value was now 1,200 compared to 1,000. So you actually won that draft trade, and it didn't matter who the player was. It's just the pick itself. And that's how he did his dealings in the early 90s. Now, another guy has taken it over and kind of put statistics to it. He's got more analytics in it, but it's so similar to Jimmy Johnson's original draft pick value chart. It's awesome.
Yeah. So, and you want to hear something funny, Mac? Everybody gives Jimmy credit for it, but it was a guy that worked for Jerry Jones, who was a lawyer named Mike McCoy, and he came up with this.
Well, there you go.
Jimmy utilized it, but Mike McCoy was the actual person to come up with this way of looking at the draft.
Well, there you go. I mean, this was something that was never done before.
Yes.
Johnson started doing it in the early 90s. A lot of success with Dallas and draft picks in the 90s. Very successful.
Well, interesting at certain picks, but they struggled on certain picks. Like they had a great amount, obviously, in the first rounders, but they struggled in the second round. The fourth round was big for them. And you got Tony Colbert, you got Daryl Johnston, you got Mark Stepnowski, but then they got Larry Allen. I think Larry was a lower pick. Eric Williams. They were all
So you can attribute that a little bit, Jim, for them trading to get a lower draft pick to get that value, right?
Yeah.
So, example, Eagles go to get Devontae Smith. They trade with the Dallas Cowboys. Their pick slots 12 to 10. So they get Devontae Smith, who they wanted, but Dallas gets Micah Parsons.
Right.
And I think it was it Glofstone? I'm trying to say it
Golston.
right. Their defensive end.
Ghoston, yeah.
Ghoston.
They were good picks.
They both played.
That's where you were saying that the Dallas wins the trade because they got 398 as opposed to 369.
Exactly. So that one draft move got Dallas more value. Now, this has nothing to do with the players. Of course, players can bust. We know that. It's just based off what the value pick of the pick is.
Yeah.
Right. So all teams have it now in some regard or fashion. But the Dallas Cowboys, again, put a stake through my heart. Again, came up with something that all teams use today, like they did back in the 70s with Landry and his team back then when he computerized the draft.
Yeah, so, Gil Brandt. Actually, I saw Gil today.
You did?
So, yeah, I saw Gil out there, the Legends tournament. And I always got to say hello, Marlene. Marlene's on today.
Hey, Marlene. I saw that. Ha, ha, ha. Let them doggone Cowboys.
Oh, so, easy.
So I'll
Marlene, if you have any problems with them, give me a call and we'll get them straightened out.
So I'll let you guys get back to the show, but very interesting. Jimmy Johnson and the lawyer for the Dallas Cowboys put together.
Mike McCoy.
Hey man, I think you and I need to come up with the same scheme with the Giants. That's what you and I need to start working on.
Everybody uses it now.
If we ever took over the Giants, Byron, they would be Super Bowl champions in 2 years. But
because I got the bobblehead going right now. I think we need to come up with something for the Giants.
No, that's because you got a big head, and that's why it's
All right, guys. I'll let you get back to the show. You guys have a great show. Keep up.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Hey, on that note, Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett.
In
the USFL.
In the booth.
You'll be broadcasting, huh?
Yeah.
I like Jason Garrett. I like him. I really do.
Yeah, and Cam Jordan is also going to be an analyst. So,
but when we was in the USFL, Dan Marino was in the booth.
Really? I didn't know that.
I got some coverage of him saying BK Williams on the reception.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, Dan Marino was.
And we obviously were first round picks in the '83 draft, and we were in the. That's kind of interesting. I never knew that.
He broadcasted a lot of games on ABC, and especially the games in Florida. I mean, in the state of Florida.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating because I never understood.
Because Kerwin Bell was a Heisman Trophy candidate. And they played with the Orlando Thunder, right? So Kerwin Bell and I was we was all world. And Dan Marino broadcast a lot of our games.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool. Like I said, I never knew that. And that's the interesting thing. Like we said before, the USFL is going to be broadcast on NBC and now the NBC and Fox, while the XFL is going to be in ESPN and Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, yeah.
So that
Amazon Prime, they paid NFL $11 billion, I think.
I know. They're saying that they'll probably take over the Sunday ticket when the contract expires.
Yeah. They really advancing up there. Exactly.
Yeah. So Jason, I wish him luck. I like Jason too. And I wish him luck there. Now let's get down to the real news.
What's that?
Science.
The G-Men's.
Yeah. Because we can tell some jokes. Because
don't be trying to tell no jokes. We need to.
You heard that, Marlene?
Hey, Marlene, you're gonna end up being a Giant fan, so don't. I'm not even worried about you,
Marlene. It'll never happen.
I ain't worried about you. So So what's happening with the Giants? What's happening?
Giants get down to 6 million, 34 million, 634 under the cap, but they need more money to get Bradbury more room. And Bradbury was the biggest hit this year, 21 million this year, just to trying to trade him, but could cut him and save 12 to 13 million dollars. They don't have any money. How are they going to sign their draft picks?
That's now they got to definitely make a move, because I know they were trying to trade him a couple of weeks ago, and I guess it didn't go through. So
yeah, I think they were trying to trade him to the coach, right?
Yeah. There's a couple of teams they're trying to trade him
and
to.
The coach brought in the former New England Patriots cornerback who played for Carolina last year. Excuse me, and they brought him in.
Yeah.
Oh, they tried to trade him to the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's right, the Chiefs. They tried to trade him to the Chiefs. Yeah.
But nobody's going to take that $21 million hit. They'll wait till he gets cut.
Man, he had a pretty good year, but man, he ain't worth $21 million.
But it's poor cap management.
Yeah.
Some people argue with some of these teams that are better orchestrating, because in the end it gets you. And they make mistakes too. Look at the Cowboys. They can't get rid of Zeke Elliott because all his money is guaranteed. And,
they guarantee money. Yeah.
And not this year, but next year, Prescott has a big hit, but he'll probably renegotiate it.
Well, did the Cowboys get pretty comfortable after they traded Amari Cooper up to Cleveland? They saved themselves some money.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they did. They lost some players, but Malik Turner went to San Francisco. Obviously, they had players go over there, so they did. But that's a reality in today's NFL. You're gonna lose players.
But so I know the Giants renegotiated Shepard's contract.
Shepard.
Yeah,
but
so
they did renegotiate him, and they got issues. What they're going to do with Saquon Barkley, because obviously they will have to pick up that option.
Yeah.
So there, and they signed a Ray. I don't even know how to say his name.
Batesky Lee, but something over there in Europe, from Germany or something.
Yeah. Oh, you know what this was? This was Humanero, Jose Humanero.
Okay.
He's a Nigerian.
Okay.
Because he does a lot of work over there. He's 6'9", 320 pounds. Dude, and that was Humanero, because he's working a lot. He's Nigerian, and he works over there. And it's interesting. I've coached and I played with Nigerian players. It's a little bit of interesting to watch it, because if they grow up in foreign countries, it's higher because they're not used to American football. But if they come up here, like Humanero did, he grew up in the South, so football.
Yeah, he became a real good football player.
Yeah. And, I think him and DeMarcus Ware were at Troy at the same time. Right.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they were teammates.
Yeah, they were teammates, and they both grew up in Troy, Alabama.
Yeah.
But it's harder if you grow up in, say, Nigeria or Germany, like you said, to come over here and play, because they're not used to it. I drafted a number 1 pick that was from not Cameroon. He was from Ghana, Ebenezer Ekibon.
Yeah.
And his father was the ambassador from Ghana, and he was a good player. But there were little things, and he grew up here.
Yeah.
He grew up in the D.C. area, but there were little things that just didn't connect. And he was a good player. He turned out to be a pretty good player. But he
lives in Denver now, and
yes, he does. And great.
He's part of the NFLPA over in Denver.
Wonderful person, and I enjoyed my time with him.
Good.
And then I had one who's actually the defensive line coach for the Georgia, University of Georgia, and
the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Chidera Uzujribo. And then I
coached. How long did it take you to understand that? How long did it take you to get that down?
You keep saying it, you learn it.
Yeah, but you know what? The good thing is, it's a lot of players playing now in these universities and in the NFL. And
it's becoming and that's true, because you see it in the draft.
Yeah.
Like the number one offensive tackle from North Carolina State. He's Nigerian.
Right.
And I was just reading an article on him and the success of his family. So they're hungry. Yeah,
they're hungry, and they making some headway in the National Football League.
Yeah, they are. Now let's change gears. Let's talk about some of the things. Did you watch the Nets and the Nets last night?
Did you see that slow motion shot that I got?
Everybody dreams.
Everybody dreams. I averaged 25 points in high school, buddy. I don't know if you knew that. In fact, they gave me the basketball award at the banquet.
They did?
Yeah.
They did. You were playing against guys that were 5'1", so you should have been.
Boy, I tell you, it's hard to live on this. It's hard to live on this street corner. I tell you what, I can shake and bake, baby. But yeah, basketball. It's playoff time.
Yeah, the Nets played good. They played good. They got after. I'm having a blank. Oh, it wasn't. God, who were they playing? Oh, Cleveland. Byron was the center.
Actually, I played the 1 position, the 2 position, the 3 position, the 4 position, and the 5 position.
You were Magic Johnson.
So the 5 position is the center. So you are right. I did play a little center.
You were the Magic Johnson. That's what it was.
We had all these number plays. They said, do the 5 plays. Then I go to the center. Because I'm so quick inside, Jim. I was so quick.
Yeah, when you're going against somebody 4'11", you really quick. And you tower off.
I'm
like the Shaq. You were like the Shaq of high school basketball.
Don't get mad because I'm 6'3". I'm 6'3". I'm not 5'9". But anyway, that's good. That's cool.
Yeah, but the Nets beat the Cleveland last night. The big one was Minnesota beating the Clippers.
Man, I'm telling you, Minnesota's they got a good team too.
Yeah, and
but the team that I really like is the Milwaukee Bucks. That's the team I like.
Yeah, you like them. I do too. But I'm kind of getting nervous, Vaughn, to see the Nets and the Celtics play.
Yeah,
and I don't know. Everybody's talking the Celtics are going to run away with it, but any team that's got Kevin Durant and Kyrie didn't miss one play shot until the fourth quarter.
Yeah. But he rested most of the year, so he might be ready to go.
That's true. That's true.
Because he ended up sitting out the home games. He didn't play the home games.
Yeah.
And he played most of the away games.
Yeah, that's true. But that'll be interesting to see. And they're talking about taking games away because of they're saying the superstars are not playing long because the season's too long. They're not playing enough.
Yeah.
And I agree with Tatum is a beast.
Oh man, he's cold-blooded.
Brown. Marcus Smart. I told you my son played against Marcus Smart. That was one of the greatest high school games I've ever seen.
Man, yeah, I could imagine. That they both was here in Dallas playing.
Yeah, he went to Flower Mound, Marcus, and my son went to Pino West. And a little bit of controversy on that because he's from Red Oak.
Yeah, Red Oak.
Yeah,
he's from Red Oak. I didn't know he was from Red Oak.
Yeah, he's from Red Oak.
But he played. But he played
at Flower Mound.
How did he go from? That's 25 miles, 30 miles.
One of the players he played with on the AAU team. His father had a house up there.
Okay.
He knew how good Marcus was, and all of a sudden they got a house in Flower Mound's Marcus district.
That's how they do it in Texas.
Yeah. So they moved him there.
But AAU basketball and these relationships with these kids moving around like that, that's really that's a big deal now. It's these kids now they don't mind moving to play on a certain team.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah,
that is true. And then what's interesting is the kid because Oklahoma State wanted him, Marcus Smart. So he took the kid to the kid that moved him in. So he got a free scholarship. I mean, he got a free education. So his father worked it well.
That's the way to do it now. That's the way to do it. It's big money. It's a big market to do a lot of that.
So I think that'll be a good series, the Nets and the Celtics.
Yeah, the Nets. Yeah.
Hey guys, I got a quick quiz for you.
Yes.
Quick quiz. Okay, the top of the draft picks. Now, who had the best draft class in the NFL? Just go top 3. See if you can get it.
Last year,
the best draft class, 1 through 3.
Cincinnati.
Nope.
Cincinnati did. Dallas.
Nope. And this is based off how many of the players played most of the
New
season.
England Patriots.
No.
New York Jets.
No. The Kansas City Chiefs were number 1.
Wow.
Because
of the offensive linemen.
Yes, yeah. The 3 guys that were in there played the majority of the games. So the top 3 of their picks played the majority of the games. So they got the highest, followed by number 2 would be Denver, believe it or not.
Interesting.
Denver's their cornerback, their guard.
That's right. Satan, yeah.
And their linebacker, and they had a linebacker that played most of the games. It came on real strong at the end of the year. So Denver gets a great, and believe it or not, Miami was number 3.
Yeah, with Waddle.
Miami had, of course, Waddle, right?
Yeah.
But they also had offensive tackle Etchenberg, who played 16 of the 17 starts. So this is what it's based off. How many players from your draft class played the most games and how effective they were.
Interesting.
So that's pretty weird. Right now, Dallas was rated, the Cowboys were number 7. So they were in the top 10. They were in the top 10.
About 8, yeah.
How about the Giants?
So the Giants were rated number 20th.
Yeah.
Out of 32. So which isn't too bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. But Kansas City. That surprised me. I thought Cincinnati did.
But I think they had
this year
linemen that were rookies.
You had Nick Bolton.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Bolton was a linebacker. He played 16 games. You had Creed, as you said, offensive lineman, is center, who played 17 games. And then you had Trey Smith, who was a guard, who had 17 games. I mean, these guys are playing the whole season.
If you have a rookie playing 17 games, that moves you up.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So surprised me. I thought Cincinnati easily was in the top 3, but they weren't. They weren't even. I don't think they were higher than the Cowboys. They might have been 8th or 9th.
I like to see.
That's how.
Yeah. Like you said, I like to see the playoff teams, how they ranked on that. Like Tampa Bay, the Rams didn't have any draft picks, so they didn't. That's interesting, the Kansas City Chiefs. So
yeah.
I think the Giants gonna be
building with it.
I think the Giants gonna be pretty high this year. If they get the number 5 and number 7 pick, they're gonna move them up.
Yeah, that's true.
I got thoughts on that. We'll talk about that on the show. But I got thoughts. Everybody thinks the Giants are going offense. I don't think so. And I think that offensive line. I don't think so because of the people they picked up on the offseason. They're free agent. They're rookies from a couple of years ago. I don't think they're going to go first on offensive line. I really don't. But we'll talk about that on the show during the week. So again, you guys, I know you guys are getting ready to finish up. But again, a great show. You guys do a tremendous job talking about the people in the NFL and the stories, and you guys have a lot of fun. So
yes,
I'll let you go. You guys can close it out. And I figured that'd be a cool quiz because it's surprising.
Yeah, I would have never imagined that.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah,
Kansas City, man. That's
Kansas City. So they got.
This speaks a lot, though. Some teams do have good draft departments and for us being able to scout these players, coming
and they understand what the coaching staff is looking for. But we got.
I did hear a report that the Kansas City Chiefs are doing another good job in this year at the combine. They just got a good grading system on how they grade out the players.
Yeah, but we're in that victory formation, so
What's that?
gotta go. That V.
V?
But it's always a pleasure being on the show with you and everything. You know.
Oh yeah, no doubt,
So
man.
we'll do this again next week.
Next week.
Do it against next week.
Y'all have a happy Easter weekend.
Happy Easter. Yeah.
Good Friday is coming up.
Yes. I'm off on Good Friday. I'm happy.
You gotta learn how to dance, Jim. You can't play no golf. You need to learn how to dance.
I can dance. Hey, you